Good morning, everyone. Welcome to sHelp TV. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Miss Jeri Baker. She's the Executive Director of One Spirit, a nonprofit organization. We'd like to hear more from her about herself and her organization. Welcome to sHelp TV, Miss Jeri Baker. How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. And I'm really pleased to be here and to be speaking to your audience about the Native Americans on Pine Ridge Reservation.
You're welcome, and the pleasure is on us. And we'd like to know more. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization, please?
Sure. My background is in human services, and I spent 30 years in paid professional life working in human services. At that time, was working with a medicine man on a Mattaponi reservation in Virginia, and he told me about Pine Ridge and the conditions there. So when I went there, it was just an absolute necessity that you do something about this, that you do what you can to correct what was a abysmal situation here in the United States of 40,000 Native Americans who live in poverty, in extreme poverty, and often going without food or heat during a very extreme cold weather in South Dakota. So we started this organization, but we started it in a different way. We started it in conjunction with them and following their lead about what they wanted and what they needed for their people. And so, the first thing that we started was food and heat, which, you can't do more unless you have the basic needs met. And so we worked with them. We never sent people on there to do it for them. We had extreme respect for them, and we gave them the resources and worked with them to find the resources to do what they needed to do for their folks. And that's the way it's been up until for the past 15 years.
Very nice, very nice. So, can you tell a little bit about this particular group? I mean, in South Dakota, who they are, what their origins are, and I would really appreciate if you can tell more about them. Their name, please.
They are the Lakota. I think they are known as the Sioux Indians, Sioux, Sioux Indians. However, a lot of the people there do not like the name Sioux because in their language it means a little snake, right? And they see it as a name given to them by the government, back in the days during the Indian Wars and when the country was being settled. But they are a brave, courageous, 40,000 group of people on this reservation, and the reservation is as large as the state of Connecticut. I don't know if that gives you any idea of the length of it, but it consists of 9 districts. It's ruled, of course, by the tribal council and by the district councils. The people there live in majority of the people there live in very small houses, 3-bedroom. There's not enough housing for people. They live often with 10 to 20 people in a 3-bedroom house, small 3-bedroom house. And they subside on government subsidies a lot, that being food stamps, or general assistance, but that never goes far enough. And so they often depend on other ways of getting food, right? They certainly are a hunting gathering society by history, and they are also a society of the buffalo. And they are known in their history. The buffalo has always been sacred. It's been what has sustained them throughout the years. They also, I want to say, they have a beautiful culture. They really have a beautiful culture. They mostly continue their traditions. They have powwows. They have sweat lodges. They have the traditional ceremonies of the Lakota people.
Very nice. I mean, good to hear that. I mean, we hear in the books, I mean that there are a lot of Native Americans, Native American tribes in different places like Arizona, California, and Nevada, and those places. But I mean, I'm not the thought of a specific group in South Dakota area. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting
Well,
to know that. And
they're,
so,
they
sorry, go ahead,
prefer to be
please.
the Oglala Lakota rather than the Sioux. I should have said that.
What is
They
sorry?
they prefer their name of Oglala Lakota rather than
Ovala, Lakota. Gotcha. Good. Yeah, good to know them about them. So, what kind of programs do you have, and when did you start, and what made you to start this organization?
uh, well, we started because after I had talked with the medicine man at the Mattapani Reservation, I went to the Pine Ridge Reservation, and really couldn't believe that in our country, in the U.S. of A., that people were living in such poor conditions. Right. After talking with the people, we decided to start with meeting some basic needs, which were really necessary. First of all, there is widespread health problems related, diet-related disease, and they needed to have better nutrition. And so we started a food program that provided not enough. We provided only one. We were only able to do it once a month, but we did provide basic meat and vegetables and produce, right, rather than food that was not appropriate for them and there with the health problems that they have. Um, so we started with that. We provided heat. We hired only the people on the reservation to work with their people. We did not send people in to do it. We are not a faith-based organization. We are all our organization up until this time has existed with volunteers. Um, the only people who get paid are the ones on the reservation who are working, and the rest of us haven't do not get paid. We've been really, really lucky. There is a world of wonderful, compassionate people who have worked with us, and I do mean a world because it's in Germany and France and the Netherlands and various parts of Europe and Australia and all over the U.S. that have joined with us and joined with Lakota because we are partners with them. Right? And our goal then is to have them reach self-sufficiency, to be able to sustain themselves, to have their reservation economy be what it needs to be for their people, and to have them be able to function in their own culture.
Gotcha. It's a very good thing. I mean, it's a very interesting subject. I mean, they have to be self-sufficient on their own, which will be sometimes challenging in this world. Global environment would be, I mean, making them self-sufficient economically would be. We know we have seen different groups in different parts of the world. So, I mean, it's not that easy for them to make enough money or enough resources to meet their ends.
Correct.
So what kind of specific programs do you have? Do you have like programs like education or job skills or are the food drives? Can you talk more about those programs too, please? Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. The food drive before the pandemic came, right? We were providing food to about 800 homes across the reservation once a month, which was, as I said, not nearly enough. We have since the pandemic and just before we joined forces with the only local supermarket there to begin to bring in food more often. And during the pandemic, in conjunction with government programs and with Feeding South Dakota and the Farm to Table program, we have been able to help distribute 2,500 boxes of food weekly, and also, most important, preventive supplies. What was not readily available on the reservation were things that, like toilet paper and cleaning supplies and hand sanitizer and many of these things that the people there are not able to buy with government subsidies. They can only buy food. So these things were often lacking. Things like laundry soap or hand soap or dish soap or these kind of things that you have to buy with something besides government subsidies. So we have started working with the local supermarket to help supply those to the people, which was absolutely necessary. Unfortunately, did not prevent the pandemic from hitting the reservation. And right now, of course, it is soaring. The numbers are soaring in the Midwest and also very much so on the reservation. Now, the food program continues, right?
Food
But
program. Yes, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. As you said, I mean, yeah, the South Dakota has been, I mean, was kind of little okay with the pandemic. I mean, till for a few events. I mean, we don't want to get into the political side of it, but I mean, yeah, there are the few incidents have happened, and then since then the numbers are going up in South Dakota and North Dakota area. That's a different topic for another day. We can talk about it. Yep. Yes. So
but I
what?
want to talk about the programs there, if I may.
Sure,
The
please.
we started out with the idea of helping them. There are a couple of things: focusing on the children and helping them to look to the future, and also providing something that was in within their culture that would provide help the economy on the reservation.
Mm-hmm.
So, in working with them, we developed and constructed the Buffalo House, which is a meat processing facility, and we are developing now a buffalo herd. There, the tribe does have their own herd, and this buffalo herd will be to feed the people and to also eventually to market off the reservation once USDA certification has been reached. Right now, it's after 3 years, it is functioning as a something called custom exempt facility. So it's able to process buffalo and other animals, hunted animals, and beef, but it's not able to sell that. Right? It's able to process it for the owners of the animal, and it's able to give food to their people. So we're able to put it into the food program, but not to market it. So once we reach USDA certification, the building is now already outgrown the demand, or the demand has outgrown the building. And we are looking now to expand the building and to put in the equipment that's needed in order to meet USDA certification, and therefore produce a big jump in the economy.
So very nice. They will be able to provide food to the other people once they get the USDA certificate, which is very nice. Okay, so how are they surviving right now? Like, I mean, what is their way of generating economy? I mean, money for themselves, or survive themselves. I mean, do getting the food or clothes or housing. So how do they get those things for themselves when they don't trade outside?
Well, okay. They, they mostly, there's 80% unemployment always on the reservation, not just during the pandemic. So there's almost no employment there, except through tribal programs. The If you look at where it's located on the plains, just about 100 miles from the nearest city, which is Rapid City, South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go there for to shop when they can, although they take their res cars and goes there. And the only there's only one supermarket on the reservation, and there are some smaller stores. A lot of the smaller stores only sell, snack foods and sodas primarily, right, with some other things thrown in. But they subside. They've had their diet has been very poor, and I think primarily because that's what they were given to eat, and what they were able to eat and able to buy to feed themselves for so long, with government subsidies.
Gotcha. Some of the tribes in different parts of the world, I mean, they do, I mean, some produce like handicrafts, or I mean, they do some food items, but here in the US you have a restriction, like, I mean, you need to get the USDA certification and all those things. But in other parts of the world there is no regulation, like, I mean, USDA, not every place. So they were able to sell those or produce and then make money and then rotate that money. but in US looks like, is there any other way these guys sell, like any handicrafts or any other services will they be able
Yes.
to provide? Can you talk about that one too, please?
Thank you. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Uh, they do beading. They do a lot of beading. They're very artistic, this culture. And not only beading, but painting and performing arts, their powwows, their dances, their music. But the thing that they exist on primarily is beadwork. And there's throughout the internet, there's lots of examples of their beadwork. It's quite gorgeous, quite intricate. So if when there is tourist industry, then they can earn some money, especially during the tourist months, from their beadwork, and so they work during the winter time to get that ready to go. They There is a singing horse trading post there on the reservation, which also sells jewelry and their crafts to people. There's a traditional star quilt, which is Lakota, that all the, well, not all, but many people on the reservation make, and it's hand quilted, beautiful designs and beautiful colors. So these kind of things are very important. They also depend on tourists because they do go to market their stuff in like the Black Hills in South Dakota and at the Crazy Horse Monument. There are dancers there who exhibit their culture. There's lots of ways that they do this. They'd like to have more tourists be involved or come to the reservation. It's pretty far off the beaten track. They do have a casino, but the casino I think it's just too far off the beaten track to really be successful as other casinos have been. Right. So it does not provide the support to the people.
Gotcha. Yeah. The casino, in US, as a thanks to the Native Americans, government has given a feature. Native Americans can own the casinos and probably, but most of the Las Vegas strips are, owned by Indians, Native Indians in US. At least, if they have a stake. Every casino has a partner, Indian American partner. Most of them. That's the some kind of rule I read somewhere in the long back. But this particular casino, you said, it's off away from the traffic, so you're not able to get, even though you have a casino, not people are coming there. So interesting to know. So what are the other ways do they make? I know tourism, but do they promote the tourism? Or what kind of tourists come to these areas?
I think people come to the reservation, as if they're going to the Midwest, and they will come through the reservation. There are lots of roadside stands during the tourist season with beadwork, where people are selling their beadwork, as well as the trading post, as I said. They also they're right at the Badlands, which is a beautiful, beautiful place. I don't know if you've been to the Badlands or not, but it's gorgeous.
No, I was there only with Sioux Falls once, in 2007 or something. And so I drove from Michigan all the way to Sioux Falls for a business purpose. Then I came back. That's it.
Yeah. And the Badlands are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And the tourists do come to the Badlands. So the people there, of course, know the Badlands, and they know that they can take the people to the beautiful, beautiful spots within the Badlands. They can take them out at night when it's absolutely dark, and be able to observe not only the Badlands in the moonlight, but also to observe the stars and the heavens in a very beautiful place. And they go on horseback, and they take people out on horseback during the day to see this. It's gorgeous. They also do have some vehicles that they can take out into the Badlands.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What is the typical tourism season in those areas?
Probably starting in April, May, but mostly during the summer.
During the summer.
Yeah, it's not so much the fall, because there's not a lot of vegetation here, right?
Oh, okay.
So you're going out to look at the turning of the leaves or that kind of thing, and winter comes early. The thing about South Dakota and this reservation is that they temperatures can drop as low as 40 below, right, during the winter time,
Mm.
below zero. So it's amazingly cold when the winter comes. So people don't, there's not so much tourists at that time.
During the time, except skiing
Yeah.
or something other than that, nothing much.
There's
Got
no
you.
skiing there. There's no hills.
No,
There's
yes.
a
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
One thing I do want to say that we've started working with to get solar on the reservation, and the people there are really they're very much environmentally acute, and they want to protect the environment, and so they are looking at other ways because every year lots and lots of houses have their electricity turned off, right? Because they can't pay the bill.
Hmm.
And so as soon as winter, the spring comes, the electricity starts going off in the houses. So they have been looking at solar. How can they do solar? And we have been very, very fortunate to work with an organization called Everybody Solar, and they have helped us put solar on the youth center. We built a youth center back in 2000, opened it in 2015 in the Allen area of the reservation, and are looking to build another one once the pandemic allows that construction to take place. The but they we put solar on the youth center in Allen, and it really brought the cost of electricity almost to zero. Right.
Very
Uh,
nice. Good to hear
yeah,
that.
yeah, and of course, most important too is that we put it on the Buffalo House, so that where you have walk-in freezers, walk-in coolers, and a lot of use of electricity, and so we have, we put solar there, and that has brought the bill down like over 200 or 300 a month. It's really
Very
been
nice. Very,
to
very
have it.
good. Good to hear all these initiatives by the community and then your organization and helping them. That's good. So, what are the other programs? You mentioned that you have programs for children. So, what kind of programs do you have for the children?
It's the when we don't have a pandemic going on, we have we have the youth center. We started with the youth back in 2012 when we brought the Native Americans to New York to run. They are runners. They run everywhere. They're used to being outdoors, and so we brought them to New York City for the marathon,
Hmm.
and they did very well there. And it was really fun because the people were very really took to them, and we had a campaign called the natives are taking back, the Indians are taking back New York City. And I don't know if everybody would understand what that means or not, but I think you do because you're smiling. But the history has it that the Indians sold Manhattan to the U.S. government many years ago for about $30 or something, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And so our campaign was to take back New York City, but they did very well. They were very well received there at the marathon, and they came back. That was the time when the Hurricane Sandy came through, and they really showed their culture because they went down to the areas that were hit, and they just pitched in and started helping. Nobody had to ask them; they just went and started to help the people who had been hit. So it was they are this is their kind of people. They, when disaster strikes, they know how to help.
Very nice, very nice. So, what kind of specific do you have, like education programs or how do you help? See, usually people say, I mean, it's always better to education is one of the good tools for the people. I mean, to be on their own and prosper in their lives. So what kind of programs do you have for that?
We well at the Allen Youth Center and throughout the reservation. You're right. There are schools. There are schools. There throughout the reservation. They are not as certainly not anywhere nearly as well equipped as schools off the reservation. And so we try to help through helping to provide materials where they can, and I think other organizations do that as well. Through the youth center, our goal has been to help them stay in their culture as well as to provide mentoring and tutoring and different things and give them opportunity to express music and art and also to help the kids have something other than that, well, I guess you would say that's meaningful in their life because there's so much. Anytime there's poverty on a reservation or anywhere, there's always alcohol and drugs, as you well know, right? And the reservation is no different. And so we try to offer the kids a place. The youth center there is different than what you might think of the youth center elsewhere, because it provides a lot of support to the kids. It provides food. We provide food every day, nutritious food. When they come over, they get snacks, the things that they may not be able to have at home. They are immersed in their culture. They do drumming as a not just as you might think of as a set of drums, but powwow drumming. On a big powwow drum. They do have musical instruments there. They are able to express their artistic talent, and they have a kiln so that they can do pottery and other things there. So we try to get them involved at the youth center. They do take up things like archery, right, and anything else that we can get there for them, so that they can be involved in activities that are not do not lead to destructive behaviors.
Very nice. Okay.
And we're hoping to do this across the reservation. We do support. There is a suicide prevention program. The suicides on the reservation among the teens is very high, like 5 times the national average. And suicide prevention program, and we help support that with whatever their needs are. Whatever we can do for the kids there, we truly believe that they are the future of this, of course, of this culture, and they need to be immersed in their culture, and they need to be strong and to have a hope for the future for themselves.
Gotcha. I want to ask you one thing. If you want to skip this one, that is fine. So the thing is, usually whenever you have this kind of groups, even so civilized, you are advanced groups also. You have people. There are few people who will take advantage of the others and abuse the people. So, what do you think of those situations in this particular group? Is everybody? I know most of the people are good, no doubt about it, but I'm sure there will be few people who will be trying to take advantage or trying to dominate, those kind of things. So how do you see them, and how do you handle those kind of things in this particular group? Sorry. I know you, as an organization, one person cannot do all these things, but just I want to understand, is there anything of such kind in this group?
Yeah. They are working on abused women's groups, because it's primarily, of course, it is the women who are abused, and they do have shelters for children. But they do not have enough shelters or programs to handle the abused women. Or although they do have counseling, they do have other things there. They also have it for the men to alcohol and drug abuse counseling. These kind of things, but it's not enough. And they do a lot of that in their traditional way, which seems to be as effective as anything that we've had in helping out. And they have AAA there, AA. I'm sorry, AAA programs there. So they are working on it. They're aware of the problem, and I don't believe that it's my background, as I said, is in human services, and I work with child abuse, child protective services, child abuse. I worked with aid to dependent children, which is aid to families, temporary aid to families. I worked in children's mental health, and I don't think that the amount of abuse is so different than it would be in any area where there's a lot of poverty, and that's one way of people acting out, where there's huge amounts of poverty and people have nothing to do. You always find a lot of addictive behavior as well as a lot of abuse going on. But that's not to excuse it, and I'm not trying to, but I am saying that this. On the reservation, these people are by themselves on the reservation, and so you have 40,000 people living in not good circumstances, and trying to find a way to have life be good. Yeah, and sometimes that involves alcohol and drugs. Sometimes it comes out in violence. Right.
Gotcha. So I want to switch to different angle here of different topic. I mean, is like, see, most of these groups. I mean, unlike some of the other groups within the towns, a little different. I mean, the groups in these reservations usually they come with some strengths. Let us say, it's
Yes.
because they have to survive. They need to find next meal, so they need to go out and search and then get the food and make the food. So it's not like somebody go and then get the food and eat and sleep. I mean, these guys uh, may not be efficient because they don't have exposure or tools with them, but they're hardworking. I mean, I see they are in
Well,
different
that's
parts
the
of the
problem.
world. I mean, these people. What I heard. I mean, even one gentleman gave me a suggestion long back. I mean, there are specific groups in India. So this they told me one particular tribe is good. The reason is they move on the hills. I mean, okay, the place where you are not, it's plain you said, but I mean, this particular area, they move on the hills, so they are constantly, they will be moving, they will be working hard. So they're hardworking people, not like other groups, I mean, where they get everything at their home, social benefits, and then, I mean, enjoy. They have unintentionally they build up lethargy. I don't say, I mean, a wrong way for them, but I mean, unintentionally they become lethargic, and it will be more demotivating. So this particular group, what are the strengths do you see in these groups?
These people are really, they are a sharing group, and I think that's one way that they have survived, is that they share with each other. They are a hunting gathering society, and so they do hunt, and they process. They most of them process their own animals before certainly before the buffalo house came into being. They hunted, and they preserved their food. They knew how to do that, and like any tribe in the past, right? Uh, I think there's a problem here that the United States government has, when they put people on the reservation, when they took the Native Americans and put them on reservations, they made promises to them and treaties with them saying that we will take care of you. We'll provide you food, we'll provide you housing, we'll provide all these things, right? And you just be on the reservation without any understanding of what that was doing to the people, right? And and uh, and so their goal was simply to take the land and to have the people be out of the way. Uh, Consequently, I think that people have learned that they gave up their land in the past, and so they are owed something as the government promised, right? Gradually, that's coming out of this. They're coming out of that now, and knowing, even though there's still the treaties are still there. The treaties are very important. That you do not, that you keep your promises, right? That the government should keep their promises. That they shouldn't take away the Black Hills. That they shouldn't, if they have promised to provide certain things like health. The health system there is very poor. They need to have better health care, and the school systems need to be better equipped. These are things that have not been done for the people. Um, but yes, there perhaps there is some lethargy that comes with addictions, but there also, we must not get away from or understand. Often you will hear people say, who are on the reservation, well, they don't like to work. Well, that's just not true. They what When you have two cultures coming together, and you have people who from the normal American culture coming onto the reservation to help, and they set up something that they want people to come in. They bring with them the values that come for working values that are out here, right? That are off the reservation. The fact that you work from 9 to 5, or you show up every day, or without considering that with this culture, when one of their members are ill, they're going to be there for that person, right? There are certain cultural events that take place that they're going to be there for. And unless you go in with the idea of understanding that, you have to understand also that that poverty is here. They don't have the money to get back and forth to work, right? They can't, they don't even have the money to get into to Rapid City all the time to shop, right? So unless you go in, you take into consideration all these things. The woman who runs the Singing Horse Trading Post, Rosie, very much knows what the needs are on the reservation, and so she prepares meals for people who come there. If they need gas money, she will advance them the gas money. She doesn't give always. It's not a matter of giving handouts. It's a matter of helping them in a way that they need help in order to survive and in order to come to work. These people, I can't tell you how hard they work to build the Buffalo House, right? Or to build the youth center. These are all done by Lakota people, not non-Lakota. And it is the Lakota people who run the Buffalo House and who get the meat out to the people during the pandemic, right? It's the Lakota people who run the youth center, and take care of the kids and cook the meals and perform the programs and provide the programs there for them. They do a lot of things. Right now we have several people working with us who come to work all the time and work as many hours as we do to take care of their people. Right? It's been you have to know that when things happen and that in their culture or where there are events in their culture, that of course you're going to respect that just as we do out here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think that they're lazy. I think that they're lethargic. I think that they just need to be respected and have things work in their environment.
Gotcha. Is the youth willing to come out of so it's a little like a tricky thing. They want to preserve their culture and heritage, but at the same time, they want to progress in their lives. So, unfortunately, we all think that progress in the life means leaving your culture behind and moving and mingling with the people in the city and the town. So, is youth willing to come out of this? Sorry, go ahead.
Does it really? Does it really mean?
That's what is happening. That's what people. Even other parts of the places, what I've seen is only the parents, grandparents are staying back, and the youth is moving towards the towns and cities once they get educated, and so over a period of time, the population in these places are going down. There are many reasons. That's what my observation in different other parts of the tribes in the world, other parts in the world.
That's very true, and I'm wondering if that's good. Yeah, is that really a good thing, or do we have to assimilate? The U.S. government tried many ways to get the Native Americans to assimilate, right? And we won't even talk about the horrible things they did. Well, okay, we might mention a few. That they did. They took the kids out of the home at a very young age and put them into boarding schools and wouldn't allow them to speak their language. They've tried many ways to have this. They killed off the buffalo. Some years ago, but is it really? These people hold a lot of wisdom. Not only the Oglala Lakota, but other tribes in India, wherever they are. Why are we not? Why are we not preserving that wisdom? Why are we not looking at that instead of trying to? And are we trying to eliminate it? Are we trying to forget about that? And have them go another way? It's sort of like, in some ways, it's a little bit like Western medicine, right? Western medicine is a wonderful, wonderful thing, but there is also Ayurvedic medicine in India that is very good. There are other things that offer a lot. There's homeopathic medicine that offers a lot to us, right? Yeah. So I think that we need to look at what we are incorporating and how we are assimilating together.
Gotcha. But most of the times, what's happening with these tribes, as a tourist, what I've observed is, we are only making them as a tourist spots rather than, making them self-reliant, and then, sometimes, most of the times, they will not be able to survive without the tourist traffic.
That's true, and that's why we build things like the Buffalo House, right?
That's a
And
good
we
point.
get to the point where this is Buffalo is in Buffalo House. The Buffalo is in their tradition. It's their history, and it's a
Mm.
very sacred thing. And the way they handle the buffalo, the fact that the way they process the buffalo, it's all done in a very sacred way, right? And I think that people are beginning to understand now that this is important. That the handling of the meat and the handling of the animal is important in the way that it nourishes our body, right?
Gotcha.
So I
Very
think that is becoming more and more accepted that if we handle these not in a cruel way, but in a gentle way, in a respectful way, that things are much more nutritious and better for us.
very good.
So I think
So, I mean,
yeah, I guess I just think that we need to look at more at what the culture has to offer,
very
right? And
nice. Yeah.
how do we keep it alive?
That's a good thing. So, what is the good things you've seen in their culture, like the festivals, or their food culture, or what the way they deal with the people? What are the good points? I mean, you've seen from this particular culture.
Well, I think the one thing is it's a sharing culture.
Okay.
And I give you an example, right? We often get calls from people who have no food, right? And we try to keep food on hand so that we can get food out to them when they need it. And so this is not a unique situation, but we had a call from a mother, a grandmother who said, "Look, we have about 7 people here. We don't have any food. Can you get us some?" And so we took out a lot of food, right? And to them so that they would have it because it was going to be a while before any more would be available. And the next day, or I guess it was 2 days later, that I had a call back from them. They said, "Gee, we don't have any more food," and and I asked, "Well, what happened?" And they said, "Well, we have these 2 neighbors who also didn't have any food,
Mm.
and so we all cooked it and shared it, and now it's gone." This is the way they survive. I have never been. The first time I went to one of the first times I went to the reservation, I was staying in the house of one of the people there, and there weren't many people there. There were maybe in the household there were maybe 3, and the grandmother was cooking up this vast amount of food, right?
Mm.
And I'm watching. I'm wondering who on earth is going to eat. How is this going to be preserved? This food. Well, that answer came quickly because when the mealtime came, all the people came, right?
Mm.
And then all the people came and they all sat down and they all ate and the food was all gone. But this is the way this sharing society works, right? With when they have it, they all have it. They all go out to hunt. They do share what they have. Um, that's certainly one way that they have survived. Their cultures and traditions they cling to. It's very, very important to them. They still have every summer the sun dances that there on the reservation. They still have all of their traditional ceremonies, and those are important in their life. Right? There are many, many churches on the reservation now, but it doesn't really take away from their traditional ceremonies and values.
Very nice. So, if somebody would like to know more about your organization or be part of your organization, where they can find, I mean, where can they find and how can they reach you?
We have a website, of course, and you can go to the website it's onespiritlakota.org, right? And we try to keep up there all the information that is that about what's happening now and what we're doing and what the Lakota are doing. And there's also all the contact information is there, all the emails and telephone numbers and stuff is there. If you want to know more, we're glad to do that.
What kind of support are you, as an organization, you're looking for from people?
Our big thing to come up now is we have 2 things that as soon as the pandemic allows us to do this, everybody gets their shots, that we first of all want to build another youth center so that we can reach more kids, and we can start help with the suicide prevention program. Secondly, and very, very important is we were able to acquire some land that we can use to raise food, and a building where we can use to distribute food, so that there's a distribution system on the reservation, right? So you have not only the meat from the buffalo house, but you have vegetables and produce that you are growing. And this is going to take a big effort, and we must employ the people there. They have to, in order to do this, they have to be paid to come to work, to do the things that are necessary to get food out to the people and to grow the food and distribute it. It's there are some places there that are doing this, and it needs to be more so that it can take care of the whole reservation. And there needs to be a distribution system that goes out to the whole reservation. Things that we have not gotten into yet, and yet are very, very important, are housing. Many people live in little houses, right? And especially during the winter, when it's cold, you will have 10 to 20 people living in small houses. That makes it hard for people generally, and it makes it hard for kids to study. It's very difficult to live under those kind of circumstances, especially, if you don't have enough food, or you don't have the electricity goes out, or that kind of thing. Well, we do also have a wood program, and we do help provide wood to people for heat, right? And we pay people on the reservation to cut wood and to bring it in, to deliver it to homes.
Gotcha. So do you also take any monetary contributions or donations?
We can't live without them. We absolutely can't live without them. They this is how we survived. And that's when I some time ago now, when I said, it's been a work of love for people around the world, right? And who feel very strongly that people should not live this way, and that we have worked together. But they have done their work mostly has involved donations, because since we have the goal of just employing Lakota people, if you have 80% unemployment on the reservation, it doesn't make sense to bring somebody else in to do the work.
Gotcha.
They know what's best for their people, and so our goal is to have them go to work and be able to take care of their own people. So you do this through donations. Donations are what help build the gardens, or build the distribution center, or or hire the people to do these things.
Gotcha. So I mean, to do all these things, I'm sure you need a team. A team of volunteers. You're leading them for sure, but can you talk about your team too, please?
Yes, we have a team. We have I'd love to talk about the team because they're really wonderful. We have a team of volunteers who are called area service coordinators, and there's one for each district. And gradually, we are also bringing in not only the non-Lakota, but the Lakota people to be service coordinators, right? We have a team of people the communications people, who handle the websites and the social media and the newsletters and everything that goes out, right? Whether you have the writers who write about the culture. There's so many things that have the database people, that you have to have the grant writer who comes, the business manager. I know programs and I know people, but I don't do accounting. Everything that comes in goes through an an accountant. It goes through a business person. It does not come into any hands, except it goes right into the programs. Over 90% of any donation that comes in goes to the programs on the reservation, not to people out here, because we don't get paid, right? But it's been donations. That's how we've survived, is by people sharing their material things. There is a Okini program that we use called that. Okini means sharing material wealth, and people on the reservation can call their service coordinator about their urgent needs, whether it be blankets or food or heaters for the winter, whatever it may be. And these are put on the Okini program. They're listed on the Okini program. And our wonderful, wonderful donors go to the Okini program and buy these things and send them directly to the home where the people get them. They do not. It doesn't come in any central place or anything. It goes directly to the people. So it's been fantastic. It also builds. The other thing that has been going on is we're building relationships between people, non-Lakota and Lakota, the natives, and this is really an important thing. And most recently, we have started having in the schools we've been using Skype or Zoom to bring people from the reservation to speak to the high schoolers, right? And to talk to them about the high schoolers can then find out. They can talk directly to the kids or to the natives on the reservation and ask real questions about what is it like to be native now and to learn directly from them, right? And I think the more that we do this, it's been, it makes a huge difference in the way people respond to Native Americans these days. One group I just want to mention, high school, where we have been going and having Skype calls from the reservation since for several years now. They had a mascot that was a caricature of an Indian, a very bad caricature, and the kids absolutely got the Board of Education to get rid of this mascot and to take. There was a lot of resistance from the community because it had been there for a long time, but that happened. And they took down the mascot, and it is no more. It's sort of nice. They're trying the teams, the sports teams are trying to do something else with the mascots, but the kids did it, and these were kids who had talked directly to the people on the reservation who knew what it was like, and they had been to the reservation.
Gotcha. So, very nice. And so, when you say communication, do they have what language? Do they have any other language other than English? They do speak. What language do they speak?
Lakota.
Lakota. Gotcha.
Lakota. They have their, and that's a huge thing for them is to preserve that language, not to see it die, right?
Gotcha.
And now, many things are, all the signs and things are in both English and Lakota. And I'm very proud of the local grocery store where they put up the signs also in Lakota and in English, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
It's, nice. Yeah.
Good to preserve. I mean, happy to hear. They're trying to preserve their language and their culture and heritage. Anything else you want to talk about this particular group or your organization?
I think I just want to say that One Spirit embodies, in my mind, the ideal relationship between peoples, right? And we have really raised the respect of the Lakota people and have in outside of the reservation, right? We've also helped to raise the level of awareness. Most people in the U.S. do not know about Native Americans. They really don't. If you talk about Pine Ridge Reservation, they go, "Where is that? Who's there? Who's on that reservation?" They really do not. This is not something we're taught in school. It's not something we see in our everyday life. It's a very much of a bother to me when I see articles written in newspapers about the people in the United States, and that most often do not did not mention the Native Americans, right? It's time, I think, that to go back to what you said, that we begin to learn what are they all about and what do they have to offer and provide to our society.
Very nice. Thank you very much for coming on the show and sharing the information about Lakota group and also the services your company as a One Spirit doing to this particular group. And we wish you all the best. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah.
Sorry, ma'am.
I really appreciate being here, and thank you very, very much. And honestly, if people want to join with One Spirit, it would help us go faster. That's the one thing that I think that in 15 years of existence, we have moved too slowly in my mind, that we need to move more quickly to have people be able to be self-sufficient and to be part of our society.
It's very nice. At least you started it. I'm sure it will go. I mean, at the speed you want it. I hope for that, and wish you all the best. And have a nice rest of the day, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good day.